Welcome to the dOrg hot seat. Remember the beginning of the movie The Matrix? It starts with Neo waking up in front of a computer, and the terminal says, "Hello Neo, follow the white rabbit." It gives him the first clue to go into quite a rabbit hole, a whole new world outside of his knowledge. Well, Web3 might seem as intriguing as taking the red pill, but a lot of people don't have a Morpheus to guide them. Until the metagame. And what is the metagame? A massive online coordination game, an onboarding machine, a network of knowledge. It's a white rabbit tattoo on a website that you gotta follow to find your place in the space. One more thing you can do to find your place in Web3 is to follow and subscribe to the podcast as we continue to go deep into the rabbit hole. I leave you now with the Web3 Morpheus, Lewis Carroll's white rabbit himself, Peth, founder of the metagame.
I'm going to give a brief intro to what is metagame and why I started metagame. So going back to when I first joined the Web3 space and I saw all this cool technology, and I thought, oh shit, this is the technology for building new kinds of economies, the societies of the future. And my mind was blown. And I thought everybody sees it that way, but then the deeper I got, and especially with each bull run, that a lot of people join that they don't know what the space is about, they don't understand the real potential of the technology. All they know is that they might make some money, and so you have this onboarding is not very good, so that people don't understand what this technology could be used for, and they only hear about the potential of making money, and they don't understand, they have a trouble discerning scams from good projects, and then this drive for profit makes there's whole proliferation of scams, and this altogether gives the whole space a bad name. And I started metagame when I joined the Meta Cartel DAO, which was having a problem with onboarding, and I saw that a lot of other DAOs have also the same problem with onboarding contributors, and the ecosystem as a whole has the same problem with onboarding people and contributors. So I started metagame, and I called it a massive online coordination game, and I explained it as either a real-life MMORPG, or I explained it as an onboarding machine, or I also explained it as a decentralized factory, where the idea is really to bring together all the learning resources and cool DAOs, and really build this network of knowledge of people who could contribute to projects, and service DAOs and project DAOs, and really make it as easy as possible for people to join the space, to start their own projects, to find whatever service that they need for their own project, and really make the whole thing a lot easier. So metagame is meant to be this kind of a connective tissue for the Web3 ecosystem. So that's about it for the intro, and I'm gonna just scroll through this landing page, which basically just repeats what I just said, and I should have been scrolling while I was saying, because it's kind of a presentation, I guess. The problem, the space is hard to navigate, and it explains all of that stuff, and then what we do, but we'll get to that through the platform. And then you click join. So previously, when I was last time here, clicking this join button was taking people directly to create a profile, but now it's taking people to this onboarding game. So this was supposed to be instant, but doesn't matter. Oh, it knows that I've been here before, and it just took me to the end. And you get this Matrix inspired onboarding game, which is a text-based sort of choose your own adventure that depending on your level of understanding of if you're very new to Web3, then it might tell you the Web3 is, and if you already know your way around Web3 and need help with your project, then it might ask you okay, what kind of help do you need, and then it sends you maybe to Gitcoin to create a grant, or it sends you to some it sends you to an investment DAO, or if you're looking for a project to contribute to, it might send you to projects where you can either get work or offer work, and you get the basic idea. I know about Web3, I'm here to learn about metagame, okay, and then it tells you about metagame, and it tells you how to play metagame. Okay, and you get this first NFT. And then you can join as a player, which is people who join by contributing. You can join as a patron, or you can join as a guild. So there's this whole page for joining as a guild, and like why it's useful and all of that, but you already know that because you already are listed as a guild in here. So I will get to this as well to show you the profile. I think most of you might not have seen it, but let me get to this first. So you join as a player. Okay, switch to mainnet. Okay. So you go to the onboarding game. So it tells you like about these profiles, which are decentralized profiles built on ceramics for like people who want to work in the DAO space. You can read more about the profiles here. This was like, yeah, I've already shown you this. So this is what I came about last time to see if there's interest in dOrg to adopt these kind of profiles for your own members directory inside dOrg. And then you connect the wallet. And you define the name, the bio, and all the basic stuff, the personality type, skill, time availability, role, and other stuff you can set in here. So it shows like DAO memberships, the NFTs you have. And the whole idea is that these profiles are really modular. So we have very few basic blocks, like embedding the links or like adding a text. So really add whatever you want. But the whole idea is that other projects and people can create custom blocks. So these can be really whatever other integration for the profiles. It can be the other like reputation protocols, or it can be whatever other identity solutions. There's a bunch of ideas in here. But really, anybody can build whatever other integration. You have this as a custom block here, and you can set nice custom backgrounds. So for me, it's displaying a bunch more stuff than the profile that I've just created. And the DAO memberships take a bit to load, but you get the point. And then onto the actual dashboard, and then on the dashboard is like surfacing information about MetaGame. So like the latest content, like the newsletter, the podcast, the YouTube videos. So it has the leaderboard, the token stats, the XP stats, the calendar, and here is the exact same idea of building these custom blocks. So like these custom blocks really on the dashboard, it can again be anything. So it can be like a simple RSS feed, or it can be like a Lens feed or a Farcaster feed. So we can be pulling in like proposals from the DAOs that you're a member of, or tasks from like dOrg or Wonderverse or other bounty platforms. So that's the idea, to like make it like bring in a bunch of other projects who are building these custom integrations, and then so that people and projects can really customize the dashboard to their own needs. To like you might be a DAO freelancer, or you might be an investor in the space, or like an operator of a DAO, and really it's meant to be surfacing different kinds of information. So like if I'm putting up quests, then I might be interested in like having this dashboard created quests, so it's displaying like quests that I posted, and then to display like info if anybody applied to complete these quests. But I just realized that I skipped a very crucial part of like you create a profile. So after you actually create a profile, the next step you are taking here. And here you have these onboarding paths. So you have these quest lines for getting on board, and this is like the Engage Doctor one is like a general quest line. I'm gonna show it. That then explains like how metagame. So like you subscribe to the newsletter, introduce yourself on the forum, check what's going on, and join one of the calls. And basically it tells you how to join the game. And then you have these more like role specific paths. So like if you're a builder, it will send you to GitHub, or if you're a designer, it will send you to Figma. And yeah, you get the idea. And we are using this same technology that's called Quest Chains, which is actually the first DAO that was incubated by MetaGame. To create the playbooks and what we're calling the great houses. So here you have like the House of DAOs, and it have the similar format. You have like all the info about the DAO frameworks and infrastructure and examples, and like more articles to read, more books and newsletters, whatever. And then it asks you like, what did you discover or learn? What did you find most useful? So there's these questions that it asks you, and it's same in the playbooks, which are meant to be like these tutorials for doing things in the space. But basically, you complete these quest sequences and you get a soulbound NFT, which can then be used either to like gate the community, or it can be used as like knowledge or skill attestation NFTs. And here I can also show you like one of the basic like integrations was like just to show you the idea of like we have our own questing system, but we also have these like dOrg boards directly integrated as well. And that's the whole point, like the problem that we're trying to solve with this thing that we're calling the Meta OS. You know how like the ecosystem is really fragmented across infinite different front end, different websites for different tools, and like different siloed communities. And like this platform is really meant to bring these pieces together through these custom blocks, and like it can be surfacing stuff from Discord or like whatever other different Web3 or Web2 tools. And I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it, what I wanted to show.
All right. Thank you so much for this walkthrough. That was great. It has changed a lot since the beginning. Wow. Yeah, I had been a while without seeing it, and it looks so cool. It looks so great right now. All right, so I'm going to do like a couple of questions here, and then I'm going to be giving word to the dOrg members. Maybe Andrei, maybe you can start.
Yeah, sure. So I think you at the very end you touched upon this. I'm still want to ask you if you can articulate like in a phrase or like shorter than a tweet the actual value proposition of the platform, the problem that you're solving, and how you actually observed that problem.
So the main problem they're trying to solve is the onboarding like to the ecosystem, and then the problem that we're solving for the individuals is just having these clearer flows of like to learn the basics and then onboard into different DAOs. So you've seen the quest lines that you have for onboarding into MetaGame, and we are doing the same thing for other DAOs, and they can also integrate the same thing into their own websites using their own UI, because like the thing that it's built on is also completely decentralized. So really, the value proposition for individuals is get on board to the ecosystem and cool projects to contribute to, discover like different earning opportunities, so like either like employment or just bounties. And then the value proposition for projects is really access to the network. So having another place where people can discover the project and create these onboarding flows into your project. And then as the platform grows in usage, basically the value proposition is kind of like network effect as a service, because projects can integrate themselves directly into the platform, either through these custom blocks. Very basic profile, just you can visit your website and find us on Twitter, but it's also like meant to be pulling in announcements from your Discord server or like your Twitter feed or whatever other feed, and that can also be pulled into the dashboard. Yeah, that's the basic idea of like connecting people to projects and projects to people, so projects to contributors or directly to adoption, and just uniting all these fragmented pieces through this interface.
Super cool. Thank you.
I said it wasn't very Twitter-sized answer, but I hope it answered.
Yeah, the name kind of gives you a clue, right? Like it's called the MetaGame. It's the game that sort of builds itself, and it basically means that it dog foods itself on creating this onboarding experience, right? If you can create an onboarding experience to onboard people to build onboarding, that means that it's a good onboarding that can be reused for any other communities. Onboarding onto Web3 communities is actually one of the huge problems, because we're all of a sudden trying all these new forms of collaboration, all these DAOs, all of these more horizontal, more distributed, less hierarchical, a lot more loosely comprehended than what the traditional organizations that we used to have. So we need new forms of organizing these people. And what's the best way of doing it than by creating one of these loose organizations in order to create the tools that we need to organize ourselves loosely. That was also not very Twitter-like, but it's a little bit my understanding. Would you say that I'm on the right path?
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, projects are onboarding people, even like onboarding workers, and that might not know about Web3. And this is like really created this streamlined onboarding process from like learning the very basics of Web3 to like flowing through different projects directly through these onboarding paths or through the playbooks, which are meant to teach you about how to do something. So it can be like either playbook or like 10 steps to get involved in the DAO space as a non-technical person, or it can be like how to use Coordinate for running your organization. So it can be about anything really. And then projects are also like self-incentivized to create these resources, because they create the resources and we send them to users. So that's cool.
We got a question from Leo on this regard, actually. So when it comes to the content, it seems that people can add to this content as well, or is it curated by some sort of team for the MetaGame team?
So you can't directly create content, but yeah, anybody like who creates good content gets added on here. Say, yeah, you can create these paths that I talked about, like for the onboarding paths or playbooks. You can create a quest line on quest chains. So that's kind of a separate project, but not really. I'm gonna just show you quickly. So this project was started by people from MetaGame, and it's used specifically for creating these onboarding paths or like micro courses where people complete these quest sequences and get NFTs. And so people can when you create a quest line through here, you have it available like through here. Like you have this engage Dr. Peth, it's here, but it's also accessible directly through MetaGame, as I've shown you before. And it can also be directly integrated into your own website using your own UI in the same way. But basically, anybody can create these playbooks and then put them inside MetaGame, and then we can put them on our website or publish through our newsletter, or they can just put it on their own website or keep it on quest chains.
When you complete this quest, you gain a badge or an NFT, right? So another question from Leo is, where are those badges or NFTs, the soul-bound NFTs that you mentioned, where are they minted?
On Polygon, but I think they also deployed on Optimism now.
The future is multi-chain, hey?
Yeah.
So going a little bit on the technical side, you mentioned that there are a few pieces that kind of load a little bit slowly, like the DAO memberships. Do you know, how do you query for the memberships? What type of query do you do? Are you fetching directly from a node, from an endpoint?
I think we're using for DAO memberships, we're using DAO houses subgraph on the graph.
Right. Okay. So you're using the graph for that. Awesome.
Yep.
What other pieces of infrastructure do you use in order to maintain the metagame?
So the profiles are built on Ceramic. So we're using that for as an identity solution. The app itself is built using React. So it is like front end with Chakra UI. It's all written in TypeScript, and it's using some bits are hosted like on Ceramic, but I think most of the web app is hosted on Hasura, so using GraphQL. And Quest Chains is also on Ceramic, on IPFS, and I don't know what else is Quest Chains using. And then for running MetaGame itself, like the contribution side, we are also using SourceCred, and we're using Coordinate.
Nice. Perfect. So what is the end vision? How do you see the metagame being? What do you see what's the end form?
Well, the end form is really having this whole decentralized society. So we have the memes that like MetaGame transitions to. So like from the beginning, MetaGame was meant to be played in 3 phases. So the first phase called the seed phase, or a decentralized factory, where the goal is to build this network of projects and knowledge and resources that people can access for building their own projects. The second one is called the Web of Opportunity, which is kind of playing off the Land of Opportunity meme, by just having all of what we have in phase 1, except much more of everything. So many more opportunities for people to learn and earn. And then transitioning into phase 3, where the meme is really the web of life. And that's where we start connecting more with the real world. And we actually already have a few physical locations in the network. So yeah, going deeper on that, really connecting more with real world communities, onboarding more places like eco-villages, and yeah, having this whole regenerative ecosystem. Really, yeah, having a whole alternative socioeconomic system where people can move between these real life locations and live completely in this alternative economy. And yeah, it's so the general description is a massive online coordination game, and that's what it's meant to be long term. So a decentralized society, but yeah, meant to really help people level up in whatever way they want to level up in, find meaningful projects to contribute to, and that's geared towards like regenerative projects.
Yes, it's expanding a little bit on the curation side. How do you keep your information relevant, and if there's like a on-change mechanism to create or ban quests, and how do you validate this truthful resource?
For quests specifically?
Yeah, for quest and also for information for each project. How do you guys validate it's a real organization, that their values are that they're not bad persons, stuff like that?
Right.
How
So
to
that's
keep it,
where
and how to keep it permissionless, because if you're talking about decentralized societies, it's a thin line between freedom of speech and
right.
that.
Yes. So we're not really permissionless. So that's one of the things that like we are not super strong on. Like we believe in this, like building this in a highly curated way until we have proper mechanisms for allowing it to be non-curated. So right now, all of the projects that are like there's like 30 something projects that are members of MetaGame, and with all of these projects, I met people from these projects personally, and there's like connections between. There's more members who are either like members of both MetaGame and that project. And with each project, we have the project come to our community call, talk about their project, introduce themselves, then we go to their community call. So there's this whole process of onboarding a project to MetaGame. And then in the long term, the idea is to have projects stake. So like they would have to buy some seeds and stake them, and then if they, so there will still be a creation process, but there's also this, there would also be this mechanism where like if a project does something bad or like ruins the reputation of the project or turns out to be a scam or whatever, then their stake can be taken away.
Awesome, thank you.
Fantastic insight as well into the tokenization of the ecosystem. Andrei, I think you have a follow-up question on this.
Yeah, sorry. So the reason why it's not permissionless, is it because you haven't yet designed the logical architecture for that, or is it just because you didn't get to code it yet, but you know how it would work?
I would say it's a bit of both, but yeah, we just haven't focused on that side. But like in terms of MetaGame, the DAO itself, it probably won't be permissionless in the same way that the other DAOs are permissionless, in a sense that you can just buy tokens and start voting. So like in the case of MetaGame, there's 2 types of participants, and then like half of the voting power belongs to contributors and the other half belongs to token holders. But then even the token holders can't really just buy tokens and start voting, but they have to buy tokens, and they have to propose to join, explain why they want to join, and they would either have to pledge those tokens somehow or stake them. So there won't like it. Most likely, it won't be done in the same way that other DAOs do it, where you can just come in and buy yourself in and start voting.
All right. As the last question, I would like to ask you, as an onboarding expert, you described the metagame as an onboarding machine. I think one of the biggest problems that we have in Web3 is onboarding. People might have a sense, a feeling that there's something exciting happening in the ecosystem, but they don't quite know. What do we need to build so it will be easier for people to be onboarded into the Web3 ecosystem, into a decentralized world?
I think at this point we just need more curated resources. So either like collecting the resources from around the internet and bringing them like onto a single page, or producing more educational resources. So we have the technology is up. We just need to fill it up with a load of more paths, because right now we have all those onboarding paths that are metagame specific, but now we need to get a bunch of other projects to create their own project specific paths, and just to get other projects to create more onboarding content. So like right now we started a collaboration with the DAO Research Collective, and they're going to produce a playbook for how to make your DAO legal, I think. And we'll be, now that this is up, so it hasn't been up for long actually. And we finally found the person to be in charge of running the playbooks project. So now it's about reaching out to a lot of people and projects and just trying to get people to create more of these educational resources for helping people join the space. So, like basic stuff that all people who have been in the DAO space know already. Like people who are joining the space have no idea, like employment benefits or how to have a healthcare. And they just need to be told, oh, there's this thing called Opolis. You can just go there and have that. So there's a lot of low-hanging fruit, I think.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Peth. That has been an excellent insight on the metagame, one of the coolest and most meta projects in the space. I think the work that you're doing to help people get into the space is amazing, and I hope people take more and more the tools that you're building and they incorporate them into their DAOs, into their communities, and that your experience will spread around and will make them a lot more accessible. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. And then one last thing before I go, obviously anybody is welcome to come and make playbooks. We will be paying people to do that. But I also want to invite you all to MetaFest, and I just shared the link in the town hall chat. So there's this festival/conference for DAOists and regions that we are organizing. It's going to be this summer in August in Croatia, and you're all welcome.
I really can't wait to go. That's going to be amazing.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, man.
Thanks a lot.